Welcome to the zoology class. Today in zoology, the fourth lesson. The title of the lesson is Principles of Inheritance and Variation. Actually, in this lesson, we are going to study about the genes. Genes are actually the genetic materials, and these elements are responsible for the transmission of characters from parents to offsprings. Okay, genes, where they are located. You know, our body is made up of cells, and in each cells there will be nucleus at the center of the cell. In the nucleus, chromosomes will be there. In the chromosomes only genes are located. Okay, the actual location of genes is in the chromosomes. Okay, now coming to the title, inheritance. What is inheritance? Inheritance is the transmission of characters from parents to offsprings. So how characters are transmitted from parents to offsprings? Okay, you may be resemble to your father, or you may be resemble to your mother. Your hairs may be exactly like your father. So all these things are due to inheritance. These characters are transmitted from your parents to you through what? Through genes. Through genes. Actually, the genes are the genetic materials which transmit characters from parents to offsprings. So that phenomenon is called inheritance. Understand? Inheritance is the ability of the to transmit characters from parents to offsprings. Okay, now the second word, that is variation. What is variation? Okay, you may be different from your father. You may be different from your father. You may have some of the characters of your father. Okay, in many respects you may be similar to your father, but at the same time you may be different to your father also. In some characters you may be different. So that is variation. Okay, how far the offsprings are variant from their parents, that is actually variation. Okay, the degree by which the progeny differ from their parents, the offsprings are differ from their parents. Okay, that is variation. That is variation. This variation is not possible in asexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, we have already studied in the first lesson, bacteria and all, they reproduce by asexual means. That offsprings, their offsprings will be exactly like the parent bacteria. Okay, there is no variation because there is only a single parent is involved in such kind of reproductions. In asexual reproduction, only a single parent is involved. So as a result, the genetic makeup of the parent will be directly transmitted to the next generation. So the young ones will be resemble to the father. The young ones will be resemble to the parents. There is no variation in asexual reproduction. So variation is possible only in sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. Okay. Are you able to understand what is variation? Variation in the sense the degree by which the progeny, that means progeny means the offsprings, the degree by which the offsprings differ from their parents. Okay, you may have many of your father's character, but at the same time you are not exactly like your father. Okay, the reason is sexual reproduction, because you are produced not only by your genes of your father, but in combination with your mother genes also. So as a result, new gene combination is produced. That is variation. That is variation. Okay. Now in this lesson, we are going to study about some of the concepts like multiple alleles, RH factor, sex determination, and sex linked inheritance, and we are going to study about the karyotyping of human beings, pedigree analysis, Mendelian disorders, and some of the chromosomal abnormalities. All these things you are going to study in this lesson one by one. Okay, first, multiple allele. So this is the picture of Drosophila melanogaster. It is a fruit fly. Have you seen this fly? So in a fruit stall, you can see this fly. If you want to see this fly, you may keep a piece of banana in a container, a small container. You keep a little bit of banana, and within 2 or 3 days, you can see the appearance of these fruit flies. These fruit flies are very small, but the structure is somewhat like house flies, but house flies are little bigger. So these fruit flies are very small. There you can see. Okay, if you want to see that fly, you keep banana in a container for 3 days. Definitely there will be these flies will appear. Okay, the scientific name of this fly is Drosophila melanogaster. Why I am showing this picture is, in most of the genetical studies, they have done most of the researches in these animals. For genetical experiments, these fruit flies are actually used. Okay, so that only I am showing this. Okay, now multiple alleles. First of all, you must know what are alleles. Alleles. Okay, so in order to explain alleles, I want to say something. The Mendel's first law. So Mendel conducted the law in pea plant, that is Pisum sativum. So he conducted the experiment on Pisum sativum, that is the pea plant. So the character of the pea plant is actually the height of the pea plant. He observed that the character is height. That height is determined by two allele. One is capital T and the other is small t. Okay, the capital T and small t, the two alleles. Okay, the height of the plant is determined by the two alleles. Okay, if capital T, if the genotype is capital T, then the plant will be tall. If the genotype will be capital T and small t, there also the phenotype will be tall. If the genotype is small t, then the phenotype will be dwarf, that is short. Okay, you may be studied in botany. Okay, so there only two alleles are involved in the height of the pea plant. That character is controlled by only two alleles, but in this concept we are going to deal with three alleles or more than three alleles. Okay, in Pisum sativum Mendel experiment, they concentrated on only two alleles. The character is controlled only by two alleles, but in multiple alleles, in multiple allelism, there is involvement of three alleles or more than three alleles that control a particular character. Okay, that is multiple allele. Okay, now the typical example for this multiple allele is human blood group. Human blood group is controlled by actually three alleles. Okay, so that is coming under multiple alleles. So this is an example for multiple allelism, human blood group. Okay, there are four blood groups in human beings: A blood group, B blood group, AB blood group, and O blood group. So four types of blood group. In each blood group, when you take that A blood group, the RBC, this is the structure of the spherical body, is actually the RBC, that is red blood corpuscles, red blood cells. Okay, in A blood group, the RBC has many antigens. What antigens? Antigen A. So around the surface of the RBC there will be, so these structures, or antigen A. Okay, in A blood group, what will be there? Antigen A will be there. In B blood group, what will be there around the RBC? Antigen B. Otherwise, you can B antigen. So B antigen is there. Here, what antigen is there? A antigen. So in A blood group, around the RBC, A antigen will be there. In B blood group, around the RBC, what will be there? B antigen will be there. Okay. Okay, now coming to the third group, AB group. In AB blood group, if you look at that RBC, around the RBC, you can find both A antigen as well as B antigen. You can see both A antigen as well as B antigens. Okay. But in O blood group, there is no antigens. Look at the surface of the RBC, there is no antigens. There is no antigens. Okay. Are you able to understand? From the diagram is actually this is RBC, red blood corpuscles. In A blood group, there is around the RBC, what will be there? Antigen A, otherwise A antigen is there. And in B blood group, surrounding the on the surface of the RBC, what is there? B antigen is there. And in AB blood group, so around the blood cells, what is there? Both A antigen as well as B antigen. In O blood group, on the surface of the RBC, there is no antigens. There is no antigens. Okay. Like that, if you talk about the antibodies, now antibodies in the plasma. Okay, if the blood group is A, the antibodies will be B. If the blood group is B, the antibody will be A. Okay, like that. In AB blood group, there is no antibodies, none. In AB blood group, there is no antibodies, no antibodies. In O blood group, both antibodies are there. Antibodies A and antibodies B are there. Okay. So like that, this blood group, there are 4 different types of blood group, but that is determined by 3 different types of alleles. Okay, alleles. About alleles, I will tell you later. Okay, now I am not teaching about alleles, only the blood group. Only 4 different types of blood group. In each and blood group, what antigens are there and what antibodies are there. Okay. Now coming to this, the O blood group is universal donor. It can be given to all the blood groups. So that only, because in O blood group, there is no antigens. In O blood group, though no antigens, so it can be given to all. Like that, AB blood group is universal recipient. In AB blood group, there is no antibodies. There is no antibodies in AB blood group. So that the AB blood group can receive all the blood. Okay, it can receive all the blood. So that only it is called universal recipient. So AB blood group is universal recipient and O blood group is universal donor. Okay. Now only I am going to say about alleles. So these are all alleles. This I, capital I A, capital I A, these are alleles. Okay, I said 3 different types of alleles. The human blood group is determined by 3 different types of alleles. So what are the 3 alleles? IA. One is IA and another one is small I and another one is small IB. These are the 3 alleles. So what are the 3 alleles? IA, IB, small I. These 3 alleles in different combination, they produce different blood types. Okay. Now this is A blood group. The genotype of A blood group may be IA. If it is IA, then the blood group is A. If the genotype is IA and small I, it will also produce A blood group. It will also produce A blood group. Okay. So these two genotypes, this one genotype and the other genotype, both the genotypes are producing only A phenotypes, A blood group. And what are the genotypes which produce B blood group? First one IB, and the second one IB and small I. Okay, these two genotypes, they can produce B blood group. Okay, if you consider this, genotype IA, so both are dominant alleles, so they expressed. But if you look at this genotype, here one is IA and another is small I. Okay, here the IA is dominant and small I is recessive. So when the condition is like this, only the dominant alleles will express. Okay, so IA only express, so that only it produce A blood type. So like that here IB is produced, and here also this genotype IB and small I. So IB is dominant over small I. So that only what is expressed? B is expressed, so that it produces only B blood group. Okay, but if you take this genotype IA and IB, here both are dominant. So these two alleles are dominant. So that phenomenon is actually co-dominant. They co-dominant. They both express their characters in the generation. So they produce AB blood group. Okay. So that phenomenon is co-dominant. These two alleles are dominant among each other. Okay. If you consider this genotype, IB is dominant over small I. But here both are dominant. As a result, both are expressed. So that only it produced AB blood group. And the final one, that is small I and small I, these two are recessive allele. These two recessive alleles, they express O phenotype, O blood group. Okay, so totally 4 types of blood groups, but they are produced by 6 different types of genotypes. Okay, because here 2 genotypes are there, one genotype and the other one genotype. These 2 genotypes produce A blood group. Here also 2 genotypes producing same phenotype. Okay, so here one genotype and next genotype. So totally 6 genotypes. They produce 4 types of blood. Okay, now coming to the antigens. So what are the antigens which are in the blood group? The antigens which are found in the RBC of the blood. So based on the presence or absence of these antigens only, we are classifying the blood group into A, B, AB and O. Okay. Now look at this diagram. When you talk about these antigens, so look at the middle one. Here the ring structure is added into this category is N-acetyl galactosamine. So the green color denotes N-acetyl galactosamine. If N-acetyl galactosamine is added to the antigen, that produce A antigen. Okay, like that. Blue color, that is galactose. If galactose is added, then it will produce B antigen. Here there is nothing is added. If nothing is added, then it will not produce any antigen. So the blood group is O type, O group. So I said already, in O blood group there is no antigens. Okay, this is O blood group, there is no antigens. Okay, so these are the difference between A antigen and B antigens. So in A antigen, what is added? N-acetyl galactosamine is added. In B antigen, what is added? Galactose is added. Okay, so this is the difference between the A antigen and also the B antigen. So based on the presence or absence of these antigens only, you are classifying the blood group. Okay, now Fisher and Ray's hypothesis. This hypothesis regarding what? Regarding the RH factor. Regarding the RH factor. First, you must know what is RH factor. Now, you know that the 4 blood groups: A blood group, B blood group, AB blood group, and O blood group. But at the same time, you may have heard about negative blood group also. Okay, some of your blood group may be A negative or B negative. Okay, so the negative comes from where? Why we are denoting the blood group as negative or positive? So for that question is answer is here. Okay, now listen carefully. This is the one more factor, that is RH factor. This is one more antigen, that is RH antigens, which are found on the RBC of the blood. Okay, so when we are studying about blood grouping, ABO blood grouping, we have studied the two antigens. So the one more antigens, that is RH antigens. What are the two antigens? That is A antigen and P antigens. So in A blood group, I said A antigens will be there. In B blood group, B antigens. So far we have studied only about the two antigens. Now, when we are talking about RH factor, this is the another one antigen, that is RH antigen, that is also found on the surface of RBC. Based on the presence or absence of these antigens only, the blood group is denoted as negative or positive. If RH antigen is there in the RBC, then the blood group is RH positive. If RH antigens are absent in the RBC, then the blood group is RH negative. Are you clear? Okay, negative and positive comes from based on the presence or absence of RH factor. Otherwise, you can say RH antigen. If RH antigen is there in the RBC, then the blood group is RH positive. If RH antigen is absent, then the blood group is RH negative. Clear? Okay, now regarding this, why that RH names comes from? RH means rhesus monkey. It is name of the monkey, rhesus monkey. So first they isolated this RH factor, RH antigens in the monkey only, the rhesus monkey only. So that only the names are given. Okay, nothing else. Okay, next. There are two hypotheses regarding this RH factor. The RH factor, who and all RH positive and who and all RH negative. So for that, these two scientists, Fisher and Reis, they developed one hypothesis, and they are saying the RH factor or RH antigens, the person is RH positive or negative, is based on the presence of these alleles. Okay, and this RH factor is controlled by these 3 pairs of alleles which are located closely in a chromosome. 3 pairs of alleles: small d, capital C, small e, small d, capital C, small e, like that. Many patterns are there. Okay, so there are 3 pairs of alleles which are closely arranged in a particular locus. These alleles are responsible for the formation of RH positive or RH negative. And these scientists are saying that if any genotype, if it has one capital D, in any genotype, if capital D is there, then it will produce RH positive. It will produce RH positive blood group. Okay, all genotypes which are carrying a single capital D, then it will be RH positive. And what is the condition for RH negative? For RH negative, the genotype must have the small d must be there in double, small d must be there in double recessive. Then only it can be RH negative. For RH positive, what is needed? A single capital D is needed. For RH negative, small d must be there. There must be also in double recessives. Okay, 2 small d must be there to become a RH negative blood. So this is their hypothesis, Fisher and Reyes. And the next hypothesis is Wiener hypothesis. And Wiener, this scientist, that is the RH positive or negative is determined by 8 alleles. He is saying the 8 alleles. What are those 8 alleles? Capital R1, capital R2, capital R0, capital RZ, and small r1, small r11, and small ry. These 8 alleles, they control the RH factor. Okay. So what conditions which produce RH positive? So based on their hypothesis, in a genotype, if it has a single capital R, if a dominant R is there, then it will be RH positive. And what is the condition for RH negative? For to be RH negative, the genotype must be double recessive. What is double recessive? This is double recessive. Okay, small r, and another one small r1. So all these patterns, they will produce negative blood group. Okay, so this is Wiener hypothesis. These two hypotheses that is regarding about RH factor. Now, when you are studying about RH factor, one disease is actually there. One incompatibility is there. So that produce erythroplastosis fetalis. Fetus means the embryo. Erythroplastosis fetalis means the fetus will die. The erythrocytes of fetus will destroy. As a result, the fetus will be died. Okay. So why the fetus is dying? How it is dying? So all these things we are going to study. So this is very, very important. Okay. There may be a question arise. What is erythroplastosis fetalis and how it can be prevented? Okay. Now look at the marriage. So this is the father, blood group is RH positive, and the mother RH negative. RH negative in the means, so for example, the father may be A positive and mother may be A negative. Okay. So father having positive blood group, mother negative blood group. So in the sense, what is there? RH positive in the means the father blood group have RH antigens. RH antigen is there in the father, but no RH antigen in the mother. Okay, when the two people are marrying, they produce the young ones. So look at the young ones, the embryo blood group is positive. The embryo blood group is positive, RH positive. So mother blood group is negative. Okay, this embryo gets the positive blood group from the father. Okay, from the father, the positive blood group is inherited to the embryo. Okay, now look at this case. The mother is RH negative. The embryo is RH positive. Okay, so the mother has to carry the embryo. And the mother blood group is negative and the fetus blood group is positive. So there will be incompatibility. There will be some problems. Okay. So in the beginning, there is no problem. So problems comes only when during the time of delivery, when this embryo is matured, okay, after attaining full maturity, and it will be ready for delivering. So during the time of delivery, there will be rupture of blood vessels in the uterus, and so that only there will be mixing of blood. So as a result, the fetus blood will be enter into the blood of mother. Okay. So as a result, in the mother bloods, antibody will be formed against this RH antigen. RH antigen is there where? In the fetus. So against these antigens, what will be produced? Antibodies will be produced in the mother blood. So when these mother blood's antibody is combined with the antigens of the fetus, then it will lead to the death of the fetus. Okay, it will cause the destruction of RBCs of the embryos. But that things doesn't happen. Why? Before the production of antibodies, the embryo is delivered. the baby is delivered. So the first baby is escaped from the attack. So the first baby is escaped from the problem. Okay, now the same mother, if she conceived a second child, if the second child also positive, if the second child blood group is also positive, then the problems comes. Okay, so as soon as the second child is conceived, the antibodies are already formed in the mother blood, that will be directly enter into the fetus and it will destroy the RBC of the fetus and it will kill the fetus. So that is called erythroplastosis fetalis. Okay, one thing you must keep it in your mind. This the first baby is not affected by this disease. Only the second baby is affected. So how this can be prevented and how this problem can be prevented? So for that one medicine is there. What medicine? So during the consumption of the second child, after that, after consumption of the second child, during the 28th week and also the 34th week of the gestation, the mother must be injected with anti-D antibodies. So the mother bloods will be injected with anti-D antibodies. It is a medicine. Okay, once it is injected into the mother's blood, it will affect the production of D antibodies in the mother's blood. As a result, the fetus will be escaped. Okay, so the fetus will be prevented from dying. Okay, so for that medicine is available, for that treatment is available. So in order to cure erythroplastosis fetalis, so it will affect only the second child, so that once the second child is conceived at the 28th and also the 34th month of gestation, the mother must be injected with anti-D antibodies. This will save the second child. Okay. Okay, now the very important part of the lesson, that is what is Rh factor and what is erythroplastosis fetalis and how these diseases is prevented. So very important. Now sex determination. So the next topic is sex determination. How sex determination happened in organisms, especially in birds, insects, human beings. So in all animals, how sex is determined. You know, in human beings, sex is determined by the sex chromosomes, you know. Okay, we are having 46 chromosomes. So out of the 46 chromosomes, 44 chromosomes are autosomes. And the remaining 2 chromosomes are sex chromosomes, that is XX in males, XX in females and XY in females. XY in males. Okay. So about the sex determination of human beings, there will be a flow chart will be there. It will come little later. Okay. So if the genotype is XX, it is female. If the allosome is XY, then it is male. Okay. So first, heterogametic male. Heterogametic male. In this type of sex determination, males are producing heterogametes. Males are producing different gametes. Okay, heterogametic males. So the flow chart you can easily understand. Okay, this is the first type, XXXO type of sex determination. So here males are heterogametic. Males are heterogametic. So this arrow mark denotes the male and this plus sign denotes female. So this is the female parent and this is the male parent. So this is the genotype of female parent and this is the genotype of male parent. So these here, the females can produce only one type of gametes. Okay, only one type of gametes. So that only it is homogametic. Females are homogametic and males are heterogametic. Why we are saying heterogametic? This male individual can produce two types of gametes. One is AX and the other one is AO. So that only it is heterogametic. So that only in the beginning, in the sex determination, the first type of sex determination is heterogametic males. Males are heterogametic. Look at that. Here males. The males are producing two different types of gametes. So males are heterogametes and females are homogametic. Okay. As a result, the F1 generation will be like this. And this is female and this is male. If it is homomorphic, it will be female. If it is heteromorphic, it will be male. Okay, now this kind of sex determination you can see in bugs and some insects such as cockroaches and grasshoppers. And the next type of sex determination is XXXY. This type of sex determination you can see in human beings. Human beings, we have only this kind of sex determination, XX and XY. This is female, XX. In male, XY. So females can produce only one type of gamete, homogametic. Males are producing two different types of gametes. So males are heterogametic. They are producing two types of gametes. So when these gametes fuse, the F1 generation will be like this. If the genotype is like this, if it has 2X, then the individual will be female. If the sex chromosomes are XY, then the individual will be male. Okay. Okay, now the next title is heterogametic females. So in this determination, in the following sex determination, females are heterogametic. Okay, the last two determinations we have studied, only males are heterogametic. Okay, males are heterogametic. So now the females are heterogametic. In what animals and all, it will be like this. Okay, for example, in moths, butterflies, and domestic chickens, in all these organisms. So this kind of sex determination is there. ZO and ZZ. Okay, so instead of XY, they are using this letter ZY. ZW actually. Okay, now this is the parent. This is the female parent and the other one is the male parent. Look at here. Here the females are producing two types of gametes. So females are producing two types of gametes. It's a female genotype. It can produce two types of gametes, whereas males are producing one gamete. So males are homogametic, females are heterogametic. So fusion of these gametes results in the F1 generation. If this chromosome is homomorphic, then it will be male. If it is heteromorphic, the individual will be female. Okay. So if both sex chromosomes are same, it is homomorphic. If the two sex chromosomes are different, then it is heteromorphic. Okay, this kind of sex determination you can see in moths and butterflies. And the next type of sex determination is ZW and ZZ. So this is the female. Females are producing two types of gametes. Females are producing two types of gametes. Males are producing one gamete. So males are homogametic, females are heterogametic. So when these gametes fuse to form the next generation, if these two chromosomes are similar, then it is homomorphic. If these two chromosomes are different, then it is heteromorphic. So such kind of sex determination you can see in insects, fishes, reptiles, and birds. And this is the chart which explains the sex determination in the human beings. I said already, in human beings, what type of sex determination is there? XY, XY, XX, XY. In female, it will be XX, and in male, it will be XY. Males can produce two different types of gametes. Okay, this one gamete 22A plus X, and the other gamete is 22A plus Y. Whereas females can produce only one type of ovum. Okay, 22A plus X. This one also 22A plus X. Both are same. Okay, females can produce a single type of gamete, whereas males can produce two types of gametes. Okay, when these gametes fuse, they form the next generation. The offsprings will be like this. The offsprings will be like this. If both chromosomes are X, then the individual will be female. If the sex chromosomes are dissimilar, if it is heteromorphic, XY, then the individual will be male. Okay, now Y chromosomes. We are going to study about the Y chromosomes. Why we are going to study about Y chromosomes in detail? Because this chromosomes only responsible for the determination of sex in most of the organisms, especially in human beings. The sex is determined by Y, not by the X chromosomes. This Y chromosome is only present in the male. Okay, actually the male. So the father only responsible for the sex determination in young ones. Okay, now look at the chromosomes. So this is the structure of chromosomes. So this is the structure of chromosomes. At this region is centromere. Okay, so here one arm and another one large arm is there. So two arms. So this is the structure of the typical chromosome. But we are going to study about the Y chromosome here. When we are talk about the Y chromosomes, look at the end of the chromosomes. Look at the both end of the chromosomes. So here this end and the other end. And the both ends are labeled as PAR. What is PAR? Pseudo-autosomal regions. P means pseudo, A means autosomal, R means region. So pseudo-autosomal regions are there at the end, both ends. So this region, so such kind of region is not only in Y chromosomes, it is also found in the X chromosomes. Okay, so such kind of PAR region is not only in Y chromosomes, which is also found in the X chromosomes. So that only it is this region is capable of combining with the X chromosomes and it produce new combinations. Okay, so this pseudo-autosomal regions can combine with the same type of region which is there in the X chromosome. Whereas the remaining part, okay, the pseudo-autosomal region is only 5%. This constitute only 5%. What about the remaining region? What about the remaining 95% of the region? That is called non-combining region of Y. So I said this region is combining region. PAR region is combining region of Y. The remaining region is non-combining region of Y. So otherwise you can say male specific region of Y, because these regions only found in the Y chromosomes. Okay, now this non-combining region of the Y chromosome is divided into two regions. One is heterochromatin, another is euchromatin. Heterochromatin, euchromatin. In euchromatin starts from here to here, euchromatin. In euchromatin, there is a specific region, that is SRY. What is SRY? SRY is the sex determining region of Y. SRY is the sex determining region of the Y. In that region only what is there? TDF, testis determining factor, is there. Testis determining factor is there only in the SRY region. Okay, testis mean what? Testis, it is a male reproductive organ. Okay, so the maleness is determined by only this region. So maleness is determined by these Y chromosomes. So maleness is determined by the Y chromosome. So this region is not found in the X chromosome. So X chromosome has no role in determining the sex of the individual. So the sex of the individual is determined by the Y chromosome. Especially which region? The SRY region, sex determining region of Y chromosomes. There will be what factor is there? Sex determining factor. Okay, that is sex determining factor, that is testis determining factor, that determine the sex of the individual. Okay, so this is also very important questions. There may be a question comes as what describe about Y chromosomes and male development. Okay, very simple questions. Y chromosomes, what you must write about pseudo autosomal regions, and then the remaining region is male specific region. That male specific region is divided into two regions, euchromatin and heterochromatin, and in the euchromatin region that is a specific region SRY region, and then in the SRY region what is the TDF, testis determining factor, is there. This factor only responsible for maleness. Okay, so this is about Y chromosomes, and the next topic is genic balance in Drosophila. This we can study in the next video. Thank you, students.